there's a possibility that the referral itself was not done properly, based on the fact that simply saying you're under stress is not valid reason. Number two, you are authorized to choose a mental health professional of your own choice. That is your right. You are not given that right. So that's two. That's verified by your email. So we got that one done. Or at least I'm building the issues, because when I put it in the system, you have to everything that comes up has a category. So I'm trying to categorize everything on how we're gonna approach it. So first is the referral lacking mental health consult. Two is the being forced to choose. Not being provided option for provider of own choice. All right. Now, as far as the disrespect goes.
Oh, well, not disrespect. What I mean by that is being told I just felt that I had, it meant something to me to put on the uniform. I mean, to be in the army. I understood that what I was dealing with is primarily from my civilian life. I handled it quite well. I kept the unit informed of the progress. I've sent several emails. I felt that I needed some form of guidance from the military, and I made repeated calls, repeated attempts that let me get some form of guidance in this area. More so, I understand, and we can agree to disagree on that front. I understand that there might be some, misunderstanding or some unclear issues about, am I supposed to be in uniform, am I not supposed to be in uniform, and where the legal boundaries of that are. But when the dust settles, I am still a person who thought I was doing something great. So the point I'm trying to make here is that I reached out and I got nothing in response.
All right, because these are two things you have to look at when you're dealing with TDS, and maybe the unit just isn't aware or weren't up to date on it. When you're dealing with TDS, and if you're a reserve component soldier, TPU, not AGR, a TPU soldier that is not on orders or not in a designated pay status at the time. You'll be a reservist 24/7, but as far as for duty status, if you're not in a certain duty status, TDS is not going to get involved. They're going to tell you, are you in a duty status? And so if you weren't, and that's why I asked you, you can be in a duty status if you had a 1380 and an approved RST form from the unit.
Okay.
Then you're actually in a duty status.
Sir, I was in a duty status, because this is the point, okay? The way I have been submitting my 1380s for 13 months, I did the duty, it was signed off, and I submitted. So the discretion as to when the duty is performed was up to me, but I needed to perform it, I needed to have it signed off, and I submitted it. That is the process. So in a way, what I'm
telling you is the way the pay system and the regulation work when it comes to duty statuses for soldiers, it doesn't work that way.
Sir, I disagree. I was a National Guard before, and when I was in my National Guard, we drilled.
National Guard is a state entity, it's not federal like the Army Reserve.
I understand, but sir, in a way, well, part of your duties, and I say this in all humility, is to look for inefficiencies. So if what you're telling me is right, which I still think we still need some form of clarification on, then there's a problem. I did this.
That's why I was going to say, what should have happened, this is how it's supposed to go by the regulation. You go to the unit, and the unit should have what they call a RST form that must be signed off by the commander. You go to soldier request to RST, basically saying, I want to do duty at this specific place and time. Once that, and this is per the regulation on rescheduled training, is in the reg, and I'll try to find the reg for you in a second here. The soldier goes to the commander and says, I want to do duty at this specific time. This is the time, this is the location, this is the person that I'm going to be reporting to. The commander has the authority to review it and say, yes, I approve, and they approve. They will sign off on it and approve. That unit commander should then give you a copy of that approved RST form with a 1380. You go take that approved form in a 1380 to your wherever you're doing, you was approved to do your duty at. You do your duty. That person who you gave first, that person is supposed to see your approved RST form before they even let you do the duty. Once they see that you're approved to do the duty at that location and time, they allow you to do it. And when you're complete, they sign your RST form, and that RST form then, your 1380, and that 1380 is then taken back to the unit for pay. So by the regulations, if that wasn't followed or that's not being followed, then everybody is in violation of the regulation when it comes to RST.
Okay, sir, I see where you're coming from.
And this is why I'm trying to, and then the final point, because say...
Sir, if you can let me just say this, my unit is exempt from that regulation. That's what I'm trying to point out.
No,
it is. It is, sir. So maybe you need to look it up, because what I'm telling you was signed by the commander herself.
Okay, let me ask you something. And and I'm telling you this not because I'm making it up, but because of what I deal with here on a daily basis.
Okay.
If you were in a car accident and died, you would not have been eligible for your insurance.
I know, because I wasn't
would not have been paid because you weren't in a duty status.
I understand.
So that's how, in the same way that duty status applies for insurance, it applies for everyday actions for a USAR.
I understand, but we got orders and we got guidance from the units indicating that what I did was the way it should be done. That is what my recruiter told me. The recruiter, even in question, I could forward you his email, even himself said, as far as this, because what I'm really part of is the medical command. So so they allow, knowing the kind of training that we undergo, the rigorous stuff that we undergo, they made all these exceptions for us. And so they think, so the activities I was engaged in is not something strange. In fact, I could go to a library, read, study, and then have the librarian sign off the 1380. A 1380 was sent to the entire cohort of which I'm a part of, indicating that, you know what, have this, once you've done your stuff, have this filled out, signed, and sent in for processing.
Okay. All right. That part I can look into.
I appreciate that.
To me, because I guess from dealing with this on a regular basis, it's almost like any of you guys could go right now and be on duty. Where is the accountability, I guess?
You're right. You're right, and you're right. But it's a very flexible system because they are trying to attract physicians. You're very, very right. And I agree with, I see where you're coming from. And the point I wanted to make about, I'm not trying to encroach on your expertise. You're an expert in what you do. I appreciate your candidness. But correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure you've actually have to deal with this kind of issue with a medical resident in this kind of situation. They allow us a lot of flexibility, in what we could do and what we cannot do. And I will forward you an email that was actually sent out from the units that indicated that all of the actions, including the recruitment activity I was doing was authorized. They just took out the going into the library to study as a part of one of the authorized duties. I will forward you that email that I got, in fact, less than 6 weeks ago.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get everything built into the system, and that's the Inspector General Action Request System.
Okay.
We'll get this loaded, and then what I'll be able to do, you'll probably get it from me tomorrow, will be your actual case number that I've created into the system. Now, once I create it into the system, that's when the jurisdictional thing will kick in. And do you belong to AR Medcom or you belong to actual medical command?
Honestly speaking, I'm not sure.
Well, I'll be able to look that up in the system to find out for sure. We'll get into, then I'll get this started working. And again, I apologize for because when the initial one that came into this office, it had Colonel Hahn in it too. And usually when we get stuff where we're in the CC line, then we'll give oversight, but we won't work the case, especially if it went to a servicing IG to work the issue.
I see.
But so when I went in today, actually it was yesterday, I went in and went into the system to see if Colonel Hahn had opened a case, and that's why I actually had even been working with you, because I didn't see a case in the IG system at all.
No.
So, all right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get everything loaded into the system. I'll shoot you an email tomorrow with the actual case number. And then once it goes into the system, I'll probably be speaking with either the Medcom IG, because if she's deemed what we call a professional, then it will have to be handled through Medcom IG.
Okay.
But she's just a straight medical service corps officer, and that's something that we'll work through our level.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Captain. I appreciate your understanding and your patience. The whole thing has really been traumatic. I understand you drawing the lines in certain areas, and I just want to thank you for your service.
Now okay. So, never mind. All that's null and void. Where you live at now doesn't make any difference.
What I live not in Maryland.
Because it should have been done in the first place.
Yeah.
So they can't tell you, they can't limit you where you could and can't go, or even if you're supposed to do it at all. So, all right. So I'm gonna work with my professional next door to me who does mental health evaluation when they're improper on a regular basis, and we're gonna get it all figured out, and I'll try to get this whole thing resolved.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
Bye.